Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey.
So we're going to talk about staffing here. Welcome back to Childcare Genius Podcast. This week we're going to talk about staffing and give you a couple tips to help you with your staffing at your childcare center. Recommendation: one thing we found out that CareerPlug is actually better than Indeed. We've been using that for a while. We have a partnership with CareerPlug. All of our university students get a 50% discount with them. So we just found out they're better than Indeed. You've been using it for a while
because they post on Indeed,
yes,
and
you get
other platforms,
and it's a much cheaper price.
Yeah.
Make sure that one suggestion with staffing is to do a Zoom interview before you do a live interview. One thing I found out that since the pandemic, there's a lot of social anxiety, and people have anxiety about being around other people in person. There's something about this generation of 20s, 22 to 32. Just seems like they have an anxiety of being around people, like talking on the phone. You know, I've seen that even with our children. They don't they want to text. They don't want to interact like live with a human. And so we recommend a Zoom interview first, which allows you to establish rapport with somebody, and it'll cut down your no-shows by half. And one thing we're noticing with clients in our center too, that we're getting better luck with the under 20 generation than we are the over 20 generation. The 18 to 20 seem like they have a better work ethic than our 20 to 25s. So don't be afraid to hire somebody young, 18, 19, 20 years old. We just seems like they're getting a better work ethic. You're seeing that too, right?
Yeah. And I think that part of that is COVID. We had a lazy year with COVID. And the 22, 23-year-olds, they had a year where they didn't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
And I think that changed people.
Yeah. The 18, 19, 20, they were in high school during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like they had a better work ethic. They had to deal during the pandemic with masks and stuff. So it just seems like they have something happened. You know what I think it was? They spent a lot of time with their parents. And they spent a lot of time at home. And, maybe they taught them some good stuff at home during that time. Rather than going to school. Maybe they learned some good skills. They were virtual school.
Watch their parents working hard. Maybe
that might be it. Yeah. There's something magical there. So don't discount those 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They say, oh, they're too young to work at my school. We're finding that they're better off. And who knows?
We have a 16-year-old that's doing a great job.
Excellent. So it is out there. So don't discount that in there as well. Be quick to hire nowadays. We always used to say slow to hire, quick to fire, but you got to be quick to hire, but also got to be quick to fire. You got to be quick to hire because if you don't hire them, somebody else is going to grab them pretty quick in this economy, but you've got to get rid of them quick too if they're not a good fit. Yeah. Don't keep them in too long. Toxic employees are bad. So quick to hire, quick to fire. 2025, it's shaping up to be a better year for us as owners. It's been a buyer's market or basically a teacher's market for the last 2 or 3 years where they could demand higher salaries and you have to pay out this large amount of things. Things are starting to stable out now. We're starting to get more applicants. And as centers start closing, right now there's too many childcare centers in America in a lot of markets. Grant money has kept way too many schools open for way too long. And as those schools start going out of business because there's just too much out, the free market hasn't been allowed to correct. As that corrects, there should be excess of staffing members that you're going to be able to hire at a lower price than you've hired people in the past. So that should stabilize for us going forward. That's my prediction.
And also, we have staff that are demanding what hours they want to work, and that's going to change too.
Yeah, it'll become much better for it. So watch for overstaffing. That's the last bit of advice on the staffing is the first 2 hours and the last 2 hours of the day are notorious for overstaffing. And it happens because the director is normally too busy during that time to notice the staffing issues. And teachers never volunteer that I'm only watching one child in my room, because guess what? It's push for them. So they're not going to tell you they're overstaffed at all, ever, never, ever. And a director won't notice it because they're busy dealing with parents, they're answering the phone, things like that. They're busy the first 2 and the last 2. So that's why it's important to do 15-minute counts, knowing how many kids are there, how many staff are there in the first 2 and the last 2 hours of the day, and adjust schedules accordingly. So this is just a quick episode with some quick staffing tips. We hope these help. Next week, we're going to tackle into the cool subject of finances as we wrap up 2024 with the Child Care Genius podcast. So we'll see you next week, Child Care Genius podcast. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode. Before we go today, we want to remind you that tickets are still on sale. We have not sold out yet for our Child Care Genius live conference in Las Vegas, April 14th, 15th, and 16th at the Golden Nugget. That is in downtown Las Vegas. And tickets are on sale right now at childcaregenius.com. And we're excited to have you there. We're going to have over 500 exciting childcare owners and directors. There's 2 different experiences, one for owners in one room and one for directors in a completely different room. And it's the most advanced childcare conference in the world. You excited, Carol?
I am. It's going to be a great conference.
Yeah, we did it last year. We had over 300 last year. We're going to have over 500 this year, and it's going to be amazing. We had secured ticket room prices. We secured $75 room rate plus resort fee and tax, but that's an unheard of to go to a conference, childcare conference. You only have to pay $75 plus resort fee and tax for a room. You can afford to bring your whole team at that price. Absolutely. And of course, it's cheap to eat in Las Vegas too.
Yeah.
You know, some of these hotels you go to in, you know, big cities like New York or Chicago, and they're paying $12 for a hamburger and, you know, and $8 for a cup of coffee. Because you're stuck there, you can't go anywhere else. And here you got, you know, the Vegas downtown. Things are cheap. Yeah, steak and shake burger, $4.99 for a steak and shake burger and fries. So you can eat cheaply, and or you can eat expensive too. There's some nice restaurants,
really good steakhouses.
But it's definitely much more affordable than going to most childcare conferences. And Vegas is fun.
It is fun.
And they have a good time. So we hope you'll consider coming to the most advanced childcare conference in the world. Every speaker is in the childcare industry. We don't put celebrities on who can't teach you how to do payroll in a childcare center. They might sell a few books, but we don't do that. We just put people on stage that have done what you wanted to do. And totally different than most childcare conferences. And Carol and I can't wait to meet you, and we'd love to have you there. So go to childcaregenius.com, go under the conference tab, and select Childcare Genius Live, and go ahead and get your tickets today. Book your rooms. This will sell out, and we're excited to say that. So this concludes this episode of the Childcare Genius podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
We'll see you next week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.